Good evening. 250,000 Perth homes are facing rubbish delays tonight. Thousands of homes have already been left with wheelie bins on the verge, and it could be days before they're emptied. The problem, a shutdown by Australia's biggest waste management company. It's pulled its entire fleet of trucks off the road.
Neil's bins were supposed to be collected this morning, but they're still full.
Hopefully they'll get on top of it and get the rubbish moved out before it starts to smell and maybe some diseases start out of all of this.
Oh, look.
He's not alone. Up to 250,000 West Australian households will be affected.
Today, tomorrow and probably for the rest of this week there will be delays to curbside collection services in the metropolitan area.
After Transpacific decided to ground its entire fleet of Cleanaway vehicles for maintenance checks, following a horror smash in Adelaide involving a Transpacific truck which killed 2 people. Authorities are investigating if faulty brakes were to blame.
I think they've made the responsible decision to check the safety of their fleet. The frustrating component for not only local governments but I think the broader community is that Cleanaway haven't been proactive in engaging the broader community with some communication strategies.
Cleanaway rubbish removal trucks run by Transpacific are currently used in 14 WA councils. They are Bassendean, Bayswater, Belmont, Gosnells, Kalamunda, Mundaring, South Perth, Victoria Park, Rockingham, Armidale, Joondalup, East Fremantle, Mandurah and Kalgoorlie-Boulder. Walga advises those affected to leave their bins out until they're emptied, although it could be a long wait. Those who put their bins out this morning could still be waiting by Friday.
There's not much we can do about it. Just have to wait until they come round and empty them.
We ask them to be patient and to be mindful that we're working our hardest to ensure that the backlog of bins are collected.
Rachel Carey, 9 News.
Council waste services are slowly coming back online across parts of Victoria and Melbourne, affected by a decision to pull trucks off the road for safety checks. The Cleanaway fleet is undergoing full inspections after a fatal accident which cost 2 lives.
Street after street of unemptied bins, waiting like Easter Island statues for trucks that haven't come.
I just checked them a moment ago and they're completely full still, and it looks like the whole street is the same.
The reason? A horrific accident in Adelaide that cost 2 lives on Monday. It involved a Cleanaway effluent truck that ploughed into traffic, the company pulling its entire fleet off the road for checks. Councils that use Cleanaway have been playing catch-up.
Look, obviously it's been a terrible tragedy that's led to this, but we've got 10 trucks out on the road today with extra staff.
The recall's affecting rubbish collection in parts of the Surf Coast, Greater Geelong, Hobsons Bay, Moonee Valley and Kingston, with hard rubbish collection on hold in Casey.
It's already almost overfull, so I don't know what we're going to do.
The company behind Cleanaway is called Transpacific, but today calls to their information line and even to their public relations department were met not with information, but a recorded message.
Our priority is on the speedy restoration of services, and all our resources are focused on this important task at this time.
As they're past safe, the Cleanaway trucks are getting back on the streets.
Everyone's bins will be collected by the end of this week. That's what I'm told by the city.
Until then, the stinky statues remain. Nick Etchells, 7 News.
Good evening. There's a serious health hazard stretching across large parts of Sydney tonight, with garbage piling up on the streets. One of the nation's biggest waste collection companies has grounded its entire fleet of nearly 3,000 trucks following a fatal crash on Monday. Already, residents in 9 big council areas are being told their household rubbish could be left to rot for days.
These bins in Balcombe Hills were supposed to be emptied this morning. Many are overflowing. This one from Sylvana Draby's childcare centre is filled with nappies.
I don't know what we're going to do with all this rubbish, and every day I have lots of rubbish.
It's not just the Hills district. Residents across Sydney are affected, from Blacktown, Hornsby and Parramatta to Bankstown, Burwood and Ashfield. The Cleanaway garbage trucks that normally collect their waste have been taken off the streets over safety concerns.
We're pretty lucky this week. Our bins aren't really that full.
2,800 trucks nationwide are being inspected after one was involved in a shocking fatal crash in Adelaide on Monday. Parent company Transpacific informed councils last night.
We realise it's an inconvenience However, safety has to come first.
A second person involved in the crash died this morning and 2 others are in a critical condition, including the truck driver. A Transpacific vehicle was also blamed for another deadly crash in Perth 3 years ago.
This is a question that goes right across this sector in the waste industry. We've seen rollovers because of poor equipment and people being killed.
Once collection resumes, emptying the red general waste bins will be a priority, then the green organic and yellow recycling bins. But residents are being warned they may have to wait until the weekend, possibly until next week.
And I have lots of rubbish inside. I have to, where I'm going to put it now.
Residents are urged not to leave excess rubbish on the curb because it could attract vermin and spill onto the street. Alex Hart.
Thousands of South Australians could be waiting days for their rubbish to be collected after Transpacific grounded its fleet. Affected councils hope bins will be emptied by the weekend, but there's no guarantee.
Street after street, rubbish is collecting.
Well, it is disappointing. I mean, really, it's a health issue.
But householders in Port Adelaide, Enfield, Prospect and most Riverland councils are being urged not to kick up a stink. After Monday's fatal crash, the company's Cleanaway trucks are being inspected across the country.
We're unable to provide a waste collection service for those who would normally have their bins collected on a Wednesday.
Residents have been told to leave their full bins on the curb.
We'll get them emptied as soon as we can. That could include possibly up to the weekend.
Charles Sturt and Port Pirie councils use Transpacific vehicles to move waste from their transfer stations to landfill sites. At the moment, it's staying put. The company's told councils once its trucks get the all clear, drivers will work overtime, including weekends, to clear the rubbish. But the union says the heavy workload's part of the problem.
It's the lowest denominator that's winning the contracts. It's not about vehicle maintenance. It's not about the quality of drivers. It's about the bottom line, which is the dollar.
Today, members joined a silent protest calling for better safety.
We've seen rollovers because of poor equipment and people being killed. We've seen this terrible incident now in Adelaide.
The company's financial situation's been under a cloud. It's just paid its first dividend to shareholders in 6 years. After a trading halt last week, its share price plunged by more than 12 cents. The grounding of its fleet's unlikely to help. Andrea Nicholas, 7 News.